Ever blamed a caller for being rude? Or watched a manager take all the credit? In call centers, attribution bias is running rampant, hurting customers, agents, and even your workplace culture. Today, we'll unpack what it is, where it shows up, and how to fight it at every level. Attribution bias is our brain's shortcut to explaining why things happen. But these shortcuts often get it spectacularly wrong. One of the most famous forms is the fundamental attribution error. We over-attribute other people's behavior to their character or intent. They're incompetent, they're rude. Yet we excuse our own behavior as circumstantial. I was having a bad day. I didn't get training. For example, in a call center, a customer yells about a billing error. The agent thinks they're unreasonable rather than this error has probably cost them money or trust. This bias is even more pronounced in high-stress environments like call centers, where split-second judgments are made on every call. Here's a quick tip to catch it. Before reacting, ask yourself, what external factors might explain this behavior? This simple mental pause can dramatically change your tone and your outcome. Customer-to-agent bias. Customers attribute mistakes to the agent's laziness or incompetence. For example, they call back twice and get different answers. The assumption? They don't care. Agent-to-customer bias. Agents assume an angry customer is difficult by nature. But research shows over 60% of customer frustration stems from prior unresolved issues, not the person themselves. Why does this matter? 1. These snap judgments increase friction. And 2. They make it nearly impossible to de-escalate. Here are some practical strategies. Empathy statements. I can hear this has been frustrating. Acknowledgement shifts the perception. Contextual notes. Log previous complaints to give the next agent perspective. Reflective listening. Mirror their words without judgment before solving. In my experience training agents, once they start assuming good intent, call times drop and satisfaction scores rise. Attribution bias doesn't stop at the customer-agent dynamic. It spreads through entire teams. Group attribution error. The night shift is lazy. Tech support never does their job. These sweeping generalizations poison collaboration. Self-serving bias. When things go well, teams credit themselves. When they go badly, they blame others. Example, QA flags a high error rate, and the frontline team assumes it's nitpicking. Impacts. Fosters us versus them. Increases turnover and resentment. Hampers performance improvement. Advanced strategies. Cross-team shadowing. Have teams observe each other to build mutual respect. Joint calibration sessions. Bring QA and frontline staff together to agree on what good looks like. Neutral data reviews. Use anonymized case studies to highlight process gaps rather than personal faults. Here's a real-world example. One BPO in Manila reduced inter-team blame by 35% simply by instituting monthly roundtables where agents, QA, and supervisors shared successes and failures openly. This is where attribution bias gets really dangerous. Performance evaluations and promotions. Manager bias. Examples. A supervisor sees an agent struggling and attributes it to laziness. They overlook that the agent is supporting multiple roles or has outdated tools. Halo effect in action. A single good project leads to overestimating overall competence. A single bad day can overshadow months of solid work. Impact on culture. High performers may get away with bad habits. New or quiet agents are overlooked for growth opportunities. Leadership solutions. Structured rubrics. Use clear scoring guides for evaluations. Data-driven reviews. Combine qualitative and quantitative metrics. Bias training. Train leaders to spot and counteract their own assumptions. Example. A Fortune 500 contact center adopted bias training for supervisors, and saw a 25% improvement in retention among previously under-recognized high performers. Pro tip: before concluding about an agent, ask yourself, would I feel the same if I were in their shoes? When attribution bias is institutionalized, you get blame culture. Signs: 1. High churn. 2. Fear of admitting mistakes. And 3. Lack of innovation. How it shows up: performance management becomes punitive. New ideas are dismissed because they challenge existing beliefs. Employees stop sharing feedback. Here are some organizational solutions: bias awareness campaigns, posters, workshops, and micro-learning modules. Recognition programs. Celebrate learning from mistakes. Leadership modeling. Leaders publicly owning their own mistakes. For example, a US-based SaaS support center implemented monthly failure forums where teams shared mistakes and lessons learned. Employee engagement rose 20% in 6 months. A quote to remember: in cultures of blame, employees hide problems. In cultures of accountability, they solve them. Attribution bias isn't a flaw, it's human. But when left unchecked, it damages morale, trust, and performance. The solution? Awareness, empathy, and structure. Whether you're on the floor or in the C-suite, it starts with noticing, asking why, and deliberately choosing fairness. If this hit home, drop a bias breaker in the comments, like and subscribe, and let's build a call center culture that thrives on understanding, not blame. I'm Sam, and this is Call Center Professional.